Hi everyone! So ever since the announcement of the Season 24 PTR and the Ethereal items that will give you their transmogs as a permanent reward for your account if you collect all 21 of them during the season, there has been a lot of talk and questions about how to farm them most efficiently, especially if you mostly care about the transmogs. So I went ahead and tried this out myself, and there was this kind of low-level strategy that has been talked about, and I wanted to see for myself how well it works. So what we know is that at level 70, the pool of possible item drops is very large, and you'll see roughly 1 in 100 drops to be an ethereal weapon. So roughly 1% chance, depends a bit on the loot pool. It seems like it can just be another item added to the whole loot table that you have at that particular level. And this means that when you are low level, you don't have the whole range of legendary items available to you, but instead you have the 3 ethereal items and then maybe 10 or maybe 15 legendaries. So the chance to get an ethereal is extremely high compared to when you're level 70. As you can see here, when I'm like below level 31 especially, there is a very small pool of items and you find them quite frequently. And this is exactly what I've been investigating. Now there are some issues with testing this on the PTR because of the community buff that you get there. You get a huge bonus to magic find. You find roughly 20 times as much legendaries as you should on the live servers. So obviously this is completely inflated here. And on the live servers I most likely would not have gotten a single legendary during this puzzle ring run here. At the same time, I would have also not gotten so many levels, so especially after level 30 you want to delete a character and go a new one, but it seems like, yeah, you have a very high chance that if a legendary drops you will get an ethereal, but it doesn't really look all that good as a viable farming option. I've heard, but with no confirmation, that the lowest ethereal has been dropped at level 8, but for the most part you can just go to level 11, so you can either get boosted to 11 or you can level yourself with a level 25 Gem of Ease in your weapon. That should just require a few kills and you are high enough level, and then you can go in there. You can even carry yourself through T6, the Ancient Puzzle Ring, but I think that this is only a viable strategy if you somehow happen to have a lot of those Ancient Puzzle Rings, which is quite unlikely. In a typical season, I usually accumulate something like 10 to 20 Ancient Puzzle Rings in 200, 300, 400 hours of playing. So for most people this is not going to be anywhere close to enough to actually do that. So here's another run that I've done with a T16 game. So there are some tricks how to get into a T16 game with a level 1 character. So this is what we have done here, and we have the regular drop rates now because I'm dead on the ground, I don't get XP, and I also don't have the community buff that gives me the 2000% magic find bonus. On Torment 16 this kind of works because you do get a lot of drops, but on Torment 6 you can run through the entire vault, and if you don't have this community buff from the PTR you're just not gonna see any legendaries most of the time. So it doesn't really help you much that you have a very high chance for an ethereal when you just don't see any of them. So the only viable option is to do this Torment 16 strategy. There are 2 ways to do this. One is to make a game with a level 70 character, invite someone else, go back to menu when you are the party leader, and rebirth a character. And that allows you to join back, but you can only do this 3 times in a season, unfortunately. There is also another way where you can join in at the right moment when someone else leaves the game, and that kind of bugs out the menu and allows you to press join game even though it's a T16 game. But this is kind of fishy, and I wouldn't really recommend this, and it's also sometimes quite difficult to do because you need very precise timing, you need to get everything right in the right order, and you need multiple people for this. So in short, I would say that, yeah, this low level strategy kind of works, but it is not really all that great, especially if you don't do it on Torment 16 with the seasonal rebirths that you can do. And with the low availability of Ancient Puzzle Rings, this is not really a great strategy even if you do it on Torment 16. So they might be a bit more valuable this time around because some people might want to get carried on level 1, or you want to get your transmogs on your own, but for the most part it seems it will still take a while. Here we tried the cow level, for example, again at level 11, again I was dead and didn't have the magic find buff, but on Torment 6 you just don't really see a lot of loot, even with all those resplendent chests in that level. Good thing is that the colors are much more accessible because those bovine varnishes drop like candy, especially when you're playing Barbarian or Crusader or something. And you can actually do this quite often, or you can even just craft bovine varnishes with 1 in 3 chance on a Crusader. This is typically a good way to level your characters from 1 to 70 anyway, or to boost someone else, but it also seems like the drop rates are just not exactly in the right place. As you can see here, the entire level was cleared, minus the shrines, and we got exactly 0 legendaries, and this is most likely what you're gonna see on the live servers too. So in conclusion, I would say that the low level strategy is kind of okay for maybe a class or 2 or 3, but I wouldn't do it for all classes that you don't want to play. So you can definitely save up some of the ancient puzzle rings especially, and then either carry yourself with a level 1 weapon, or have someone else carry you through the ancient vault, and that will be quite good. Or you use the seasonal rebirth and go to Torment 16 and die so they don't get so many levels, but make sure you are at least level 11 to enable all of the legendary drops, but not higher than level 30, because this is where you get a lot of extra loot. I can show you this here quickly. So this is the loot table that you have as a demon hunter at level 1, and now we slowly increase the levels, and you see these items here already showing up level 1, but they don't actually drop here at level 1. They do start dropping at 11. Before that, you simply don't really see any legendary drops. And now as you slowly increase the levels, there will be a few items added. For example, at 20 we get the Broken Crown, and then at 23 we get the Aquila, and then at level 30 you get another 1 or 2 items, and here at 31, boom, you have so much more. And this is exactly the same on all the other classes as well. What this means for ethereal farming is that you can do this low level strat, but for the most part you will probably have to go to level 70, get properly boosted, and then farm T16 properly with maybe a party that can carry you easily or something like that, or you take some Death Breath and craft whatever is your favorite or the best T16 setup, and you just gonna run T16 for an hour or 2 or maybe 3, and then you should be fine. If you do regular Torment 16 farming at level 70 and you clear each rift in something like 2.5, 3 minutes or so on average, you will probably get like around 2 ethereals per hour with this amount of drop rate. You can boost this even higher to up to 3 or 4 ethereals per hour on average, because with a 1% drop rate roughly, it is definitely doable to do something like 400 legendaries per hour if you farm GR90 or higher in as little as 115, 130 average. But obviously this requires a pretty decent build and very fast-paced playstyle, which not everyone might like or might be able to do. But even on a not perfect setup, especially if you're farming groups, 1 to 2 ethereals per hour is very achievable, and I think this will be totally fine if you go for that. I will have another video talking about the kind of like setups and the most popular builds or the best suited builds for this kind of activity if you want to make your own all 21 ethereal collection next season. Every class has some decent speed builds that definitely work for this very easily. In some cases you have multiple ones, and you will be fine even with very low investment. After you have, you know, geared up a bit, maybe got some paragons, have some main gems leveled and all that, you don't have to redo everything from scratch. You just have to get to 70, get some 6-piece bonus equipped, a few legendary items, and that's about it, and you're gonna be blasting. So in total, I think you would have to count with a time investment of somewhere between 1 to 3 hours, depending on how lucky and unlucky you are, from scratch up to having all 3 ethereals of what class. So if you have to do, let's say, 6 or 5 other classes, aside from your 1 or 2 main classes, that will be a time investment of somewhere between 5 and 15 hours on top of whatever your seasonal playtime will be. In any case, not really the biggest deal for a pretty cool reward, I think. So I'm definitely gonna go for those. And even though I'm not gonna play some classes very seriously next season, I've done all classes in season 23, but next time around I'm definitely gonna focus it much more, because I want to really push the 150 solo with some of them, and it's gonna be very fun to play around with those ethereals in general, I believe. So hope that this helps you on your own grind for all the transmogs, and hope you like this video. See you guys next time.